Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome once more to Retro Spectrum Gaming. I'm Ewan Spence with another review, and this week it is the big review that we've got here is going to be a classic Spectrum title. If you've been watching along on twitch.tv/Ewan Spence, you'll have seen me working through the delights of the legendary Sabre Wulf Ultimate Play the Game, an iconic label, a name, and a game that became part of the initial fabric of the ZX Spectrum, then built up to be this wonderfully huge mythic series. This is the first of the four Sabreman series, and of course, the big one that happens after this is, of course, Underwurlde, which is the second game in the title. That's the one a lot of people just go, that was the big one, but it all started here with that. Curiously enough, though, this is a game that I never played when I was younger. This was the game that it just didn't exist in my social circle. It wasn't around in the tape exchanges then. So now I've seen the graphics, I've seen the screenshots, I've read all the comments in places like Reddit, but I never actually really sat down to play Sabre Wulf until last week. So it's the follow-up to Attic Attack. Oh, I've got red, so I can just move over here. And it uses very much the same sort of look, that sort of top down but not quite top down look. Attic Attack was really top down. This is more trying to be the sort of like, well, you're looking from the side but you're looking up but you're not looking up, and that leads to my biggest complaint of the game, which is you can only swing your defensive stick left and right. You can't swing it up. Oh, the first bit of the MacGuffin. That's not in the script. I'm meant to have the MacGuffin later. Okay, we'll just grab the MacGuffin now. We'll talk about it later. No, we'll talk about the MacGuffin now. I'm completely lost. The MacGuffin. You've got to get 4 of these and get to the big bad at the end. And once you get past the big bad, go to the cave. There we go. Right then. So you can't swing down the way. So I can get that monster to come inside. I can poke you to go away. But I got to wait until the sort of down or up channel is clear. Which, in a sense, you've got to accommodate yourself in the gameplay. You've got to work with what you've got, and you've got to have a challenge. But the idea that you can't just simply clear something out the way like that there, it's like you can't clear that out the way. If they stay there, you're stuck. You've got to lose life, and you don't have a lot of lives to lose in this. So the game itself, historically, this, as I said, comes after Attic Attack and is the first of the 4 Sabreman games. And it's huge. Let's make no doubt about it. This is huge. The map is 16 screens by 16 screens, which gives you 256 of these screens to get through. And you've got to navigate a lot of them 2 or 3 times in the game. Oh, really, I was still on red there. Let me stay alive. Let me get the MacGuffin. No. Really? MacGuffin. There we go. You've got to get 4 of these. And you've got to end up going to work about 300 screens to get through, and you get like 3 or 4 lives. There are extra lives you can pick up along the way. You've got the blue and the red flowers that will make you invulnerable for a short amount of time. How does that work on the collision detection and the downy sweep thing? That's as I said, that's why it's a bit hit and miss sometimes. You're never quite sure. Yet you've got to get through 300 screens successfully, and you'll maybe get 9 or 10 lives if you collect the little extra life tokens as much as you can. So in terms of difficulty, if you're playing this game natively, I'm really not quite sure how you'd be able to finish this game, even allowing for the fact that I'm older, and your harder games you just put up with them in the 80s. This is like 1984, so it's one of the earlier Spectrum games with such a big scope. Would you... anybody who finished this without losing a life, and without what you'd have nowadays in terms of replay tapes, if you genuinely finished this in 1984 or 85 with a completely fair gameplay, kudos, because this game is hard. It's easy enough to see what to do, and if you all had to go through 16 screens, then it's just like, great, we've got that. Or if you had a save point, as you would, say in a modern game, like your Halos and your Tom Clancy Code Red Blacks, or whatever you want to name them, you can maybe get away with it with save points. And of course, modern days, you can use you can save your emulated state, which is as good as having a save point. Back in the day, though, I can't see why, unless you've got an incredibly lucky run and a great random number generator for whenever the monsters pop up on the screen. You know, this would be a hugely frustrating game. Yeah, I've been playing it for hours here on the stream, and before I recording this review, and it's really fun. Yes, it's hard. Yeah, it's challenging, and yeah, you're going through the same screens over and over again to get through. But I'm really enjoying it. And it's worth pointing out that I didn't have this the first time around. I don't have those retro throwback emotions that makes me think, oh, I remember this from my youth. This was an absolute classic. And then you find out it's not as good. We'll have more of them on the channel as they come up. So I'm looking at this now with a completely modern eye on it. And yes, as I said, the collision data is a bit ropey. The actual game design leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of how you can attack or defeat monsters. But at the same time, when you think about the modern games that you get out of something like Arcade Games Designer, where you're running around a big map and you've got to find 3 or 4 MacGuffins, and then you've got to take them to a specific place, and once you've done that, you get to go and defeat the big bad. Look at something like Nixie the Glade Sprite or God Killer. They've got exactly the same run around a map and collect game mechanics if you have here in Sabre Wulf. So yes, it's from a 1984 game, but it's the design of that game was carried on, and you can still play games that are reflective of Sabre Wulf even today. I mean, and while I'm here, I love the evil touch that you can actually see the cave where you need to finish once you're on the right at the start. That's it up there, just through these 2 ferns. But no, you've got to go all the way around the map. You've got to go counterclockwise, then clockwise around a little bit and round again. There's a lot of map to get through. Much like some of these new games that you get on AGD as well. So, Sabre Wulf, for all that with a fresh eye, there's some questionable issues in terms of the control inputs and the fighting and that some of the game design. Other parts of it have not only stood the test of time, but have become sort of de facto way that the action-adventure game is played on the Spectrum in the 21st century. So, Sabre Wulf, for those who remember it, is an absolute legend. For those like me who don't remember it, this is legendary. This is not quite Patient Zero, but you can see here so many Spectrum games, both from its retail success in the 80s and 90s, right through to the homebrew nowadays of the 21st century. There is a through line from Ultimate, Static Attack, Sabre Wulf and Underwurlde right through to the game design that you find in modern day that's still keeping the Spectrum alive. I absolutely love that. So even though it's game over here, it's not game over for the Spectrum, because Sabre Wulf has just delivered an absolute masterclass in how to code on the ZX Spectrum, and it delivered it in 1984, and 40 years later that template is still being used. How could you not recommend a classic like this? Have you enjoyed this video? Would you like to see more? Before you click through to watch something else, why not follow the link to help me make more fun reviews, clips and content?